All January, after Marcus Rashford said in a public interview that he wanted a new challenge, it seemed inevitable that he would be leaving. I didn't have Aston Villa down as a potential destination, but David Ornstein has now confirmed that Villa are on the verge of agreeing a deal. I'm going to run through the news, run through the article, the story itself. Also going to speak about Rashford and the loan because, I'll be honest, this feels a bit strange to me. I understand why, but it feels a little bit strange. I'll explain that. And also going to speak about Matthias Tell because it is going to be a busy end to the January transfer window. This is the story here from David Ornstein. All right. Aston Villa are close to agreeing a deal to sign Marcus Rashford on loan. Still work to do, but now expected that he will join Aston Villa. Likely to include a buy option, significant salary coverage, and bonuses. Let's read through the article itself. Aston Villa are close to agreeing a deal to sign Rashford on loan from United. The proposed move has not yet been finalised as some details still need to be ironed out. Let's read through it. Significant progress has been made, though, with Villa moving to sort the financial terms and looking to satisfy United on salary coverage and to convince Rashford, of course, he'll then play in the Champions League. It is believed that there will be a buy option included. Villa are set to cover a significant portion of the forward's wages alongside offering performance-related bonuses. It was Emery who's been pushing for him, but that's the main part of the story. Aston Villa are signing Marcus Rashford. Now, on the surface of that, right, Rashford gets to play in the Champions League, gets to join a very competitive team, effectively goes in there to replace John Duran. I mean, it's a good move for him in that sense. But I'm sorry. If there's one thing I would say that Marcus Rashford, it feels like Marcus Rashford needs, it's a fresh start. Like a fresh start. After all that's happened and the noise and the madness and everything, a fresh start. Chasing Barcelona all January. They can't afford him. They could never afford him. Borussia Dortmund. They were never going to be able to afford his wages. AC Milan. Deep in the talks. They couldn't afford him. They went and signed Kyle Walker instead. Monaco. I can't even remember what other clubs were linked with him. To then just move a couple of hours down the motorway to stay in the Premier League, to stay inside the scrutiny circle of the English press, as well as, I suppose, angry United fans, it doesn't strike me as the fresh start that I think Rashford needs. And all of this is a conversation that only really has existed in the last, 72 hours? After out of nowhere, Al Nassr came in and paid £71 million for John Duran. This is just, I'm sorry, but Rashford's agents and his brother, they have not done their job properly. The advice is just not. If Rashford reduced his wages, which he could simply do, then he could have got that fresh start. Now, it seems like there will be a way out for Rashford. But this is me from a selfish perspective. I didn't want to see him in the Premier League. I didn't want to see him playing for another club. I wanted Rashford to part ways with United and part ways. I don't want to see him in highlights every week. I don't want to hear about Rashford every single week. But now it's just going to be a conversation that lingers over it. And that's me from a selfish perspective. From United's perspective, I tell you what. I'd be amazed now if United don't sign Matthias Tell. Of course, he rejected Spurs. He's waiting, seemingly, to see if United come in with... I don't know whether he's waiting for United, but he's either staying at Bayern or joining a team on loan. And now that United are going to be moving Rashford onto Villa, it's right there. So that means that we've moved Anthony on in January. Looks like Tyrone Malacia is going to be joining Benfica. And significant salary coverage. Now, I don't know what that's going to be. All right, we know how much Rashford's wages are, and they are extortionate. They are north of 300,000. I don't know the exact figure. So a significant salary coverage would indicate 50% or more. So if that is indeed the case, and that's, say, thereabouts, call it 150 grand a week saved on Rashford's salary, and 84% of Anthony's salary is covered. And that was, I think, in the region of 140-ish. Is that what it was? Over 100. Call it 250. Thereabouts. I imagine Malacia and his wages are going to be covered in full by Benfica because it can't be really that much more than 50. You're probably looking at somewhere in the region of 300-ish thousand a week. And I'm kind of pulling figures, not completely out of thin air, but United have certainly done what they can do. And look, this joining Aston Villa and the side that they are right now, they're a very good team. What Unai Emery has done there has been fantastic. They are in the Champions League. Of course, the last game of the season is Manchester United against Aston Villa at Old Trafford. Now, presumably, just guessing, presumably they're going to put in a clause inside there that he can't play against United. I mean, I would presume so, and I would expect so. Make sure you put FA Cup involved in that. But I'm sorry. For Rashford for Rashford's agents to be chasing Barcelona all January, to be talking to AC Milan and Monaco and any other club that was involved all January, to then on the 1st of February agree a deal with Aston Villa simply because 2 days earlier they moved Duran on. It doesn't feel like they've got the best case scenario for Rashford. If you're looking at the start of the January transfer window, this is not the best case scenario. If you were to look at this from yesterday to today, then it is a best case scenario. But it's just a strange one for me. Would I wish Rashford the best? Of course I fucking would. Why would I send him off and hope his career is going to go down the pan because his heart hasn't been at it at United for the last couple of years? Give over, man. He has given a lot to this football club. I wouldn't send Rashford off with any ill will, but I also don't want Rashford at Manchester United anymore. And the same will go for any player that I don't feel wants to be at the club. If it's that obvious and you come out and you say, I'm ready for a new challenge, but it's just like, well, game over then, really. You're going to be leaving the club. And he is. But to Aston Villa, as I said, I don't think his agents have done their job properly. I don't think the advice that has been around Rashford, and look, if you move in 2 hours, a couple of hours down the motorway, is that really going to move you away from maybe a circle that could possibly be having a negative influence on you? I hope it works out. I hope he scores a few goals that helps United and the rival. Purely from a selfish perspective, I didn't want to see Rashford join any other team in the Premier League. I didn't want to see him wear a Villa shirt, any other shirt apart from United. I wanted him to move abroad so I could effectively just forget about him. It would have been easier for me. But Aston Villa, you can let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Given it's now and it's right at the end of the window, I'd rather this than Rashford sitting on the bench for the second half of the season, but it's just weird for me. That's how I would describe it. I understand it at this point, but it's weird.